Welcome to the Disconnected Podcast by Angel, the podcast that delves into the dark corners of the unknown. I'm your host, Jack, along with my co-host, Adam, and together we'll embark on a chilling journey through the realms of the paranormal, serial killers, UFO encounters, and the captivating stories submitted by you, our dedicated listeners. Here is my co-host, Adam.
Thank you, Jack. Every week, the Disconnected Podcast will be your portal to the extraordinary, where we explore the unexplained, dissect the minds of infamous killers, and unravel the enigma of extraterrestrial encounters. From haunted houses to cryptic sightings in the night sky, we'll leave no stone unturned in our quest for answers. But our show is not just about the macabre and the otherworldly. It's about the stories that defy conventional explanation, the tales that send shivers down your spine, and the inexplicable events that keep us awake at night. And that's where you, our incredible listeners, come in. Each episode will feature stories submitted by you. Stories of ghostly encounters, encounters with notorious serial killers, and inexplicable brushes with the unknown. Your experiences will take center stage as we explore the uncharted territories of the human experience together. So, join us as we dive deep into the shadows, uncover the secrets of the past, and venture into the uncharted territories of the paranormal, serial killers, and UFO phenomena. The Disconnected Podcast will challenge your beliefs, ignite your imagination, and leave you questioning the very fabric of reality. Get ready for a spine-tingling ride, dear listeners, as we embark on this extraordinary journey together. Prepare yourselves, for the mysteries are about to be unveiled. Hello, I'm Alfredo. I have worked as a truck driver for over a decade, but recently changed companies. My friend Johnny told me about the salary at his new company, so I practically begged him to help me get a job there. He referred me, and luckily I was hired after a strange interview. The questions I was asked in that interview were baffling. Have you ever abandoned your vehicle in the middle of the road? Are you afraid of darkness? Are you religious? And others like that. I answered truthfully, and to my surprise, I was hired that same day. My job was to transport dried meat to a small town, but the peculiar thing was that I had to do it exclusively at night and reach my destination before dawn. Although I was no stranger to night shifts, the generous salary meant I didn't complain. When it was time for my first ride, Johnny explained the route I should take and warned me that the GPS wouldn't be of much use. Before getting into the trailer, he sent me a voicemail with crucial instructions.
Hey Alfredo, so glad you're joining our company. I've got some important instructions for you, so listen up. First things first, make sure you grab the key to the trailer from the main office. It's easy to miss, so keep an eye out for it. Once you're all set, hop into the truck and get ready for a unique journey. This isn't your typical daytime delivery, my friend. You'll be transporting dried meat to a small town. But here's the kicker. You'll be doing it exclusively at night. Yeah, I know, it's a bit unusual. Now the goal is to reach your destination before dawn. Don't worry, you'll have plenty of time. Just make sure you start early enough to avoid any unnecessary rush. The last thing we want is for you to be racing against the sunrise. Now, here's the interesting part. The route you're going to take, well, the GPS won't be of much help. Trust me, I've been there, done that. So, consider me your trusty guide. Pay attention, Alfredo, because I'm about to spill some insider knowledge. As you leave the company premises, you'll come across the first fork in the road. Take the left turn and follow that road for about 5 miles. You'll then reach a roundabout, but don't panic, just keep going straight. Yeah, I know it seems counterintuitive, but trust me, it's the way to go. Okay, now brace yourself for a series of winding roads. You'll feel like you're in a maze, but keep your cool. Stay focused and don't let those twists and turns get the best of you. I know it can be a bit challenging, especially in the dark, but hey, that's what you signed up for, right? As you continue on the winding road, you'll eventually come across a narrow bridge. Take it slow and steady, Alfredo. It's important to maintain control and navigate it with precision. You got this. Now, here comes the trickiest part. After crossing the bridge, you'll reach a fork again. This time, take the right turn. Stay on that road for a couple of miles until you see a small, rustic sign that says, "Welcome to Moonlight Valley." That's your cue, my friend. You've made it to your destination. Once you reach Moonlight Valley, you'll spot a warehouse on your left. That's where you need to unload the dried meat. Yep, it's a bit hidden, so keep your eyes peeled. Now, when you're unloading, make sure to keep an eye out for the guy named Carlos. He's the one in charge of taking the shipment off your hands. He can be a bit grumpy at times, but hey, just give him a smile and everything will be fine. Once you've unloaded the meat, double check that everything is in order. You wouldn't want any mix-ups or missing supplies. And remember, time is of the essence. You want to finish unloading before the sun starts creeping over the horizon. Once you're done, take a breather and pat yourself on the back, Alfredo. You've successfully completed your first night delivery. Now, it's time to head back to the company and get some well-deserved rest. Oh, and before I forget, here's a little secret tip. On your way back, there's a little diner called Midnight Munchies. Trust me, they've got the best chili fries in town. Treat yourself and indulge a bit. You've earned it. So, there you have it, my friend. Those are the crucial instructions you need to make this unique night delivery. Remember, stay focused, trust your instincts, and enjoy the journey. Oh, and don't forget to give me a call once you're back. I want to hear all about your adventure. Safe travels, Alfredo.
The dark path and strange rules had completely consumed my thoughts. I couldn't help but feel a sense of unease as I drove on, each mile passing by in eerie silence. Johnny's instructions, which seemed more like a nightmare than a set of driving rules, were etched into my mind. According to Johnny, if my unit's lights started flashing, I was to accelerate as forcefully as possible until they stopped. It was an odd request, but I dared not question it. I couldn't shake off the feeling that something extraordinary awaited me, lurking in the shadows of this desolate road. And then, just as the tension reached its peak, I saw him, an elderly man standing on the side of the road requesting a ride. Johnny had specifically instructed me to stop and ask him where he was headed. If his response was to the nearest town, I was to let him in. But if he said anything else, I was to speed up without looking back. As I pulled over, my heart raced with anticipation. With bated breath, I asked the old man where he wanted to go. His response, in a low, chilling voice, sent shivers down my spine. "To the darkest depths of your fears," he whispered. My instincts kicked in, and without hesitation, I slammed my foot on the gas pedal, leaving him behind and disappearing into the night. I couldn't shake off the haunting image of the old man. His words echoed in my mind, causing my imagination to spiral into darker territories. The road seemed to stretch endlessly, leading me deeper into the unknown. The clattering and growling sounds emanating from the back of my trailer only added to my growing terror. I knew I had to maintain my composure, to resist the urge to look back, no matter how compelling the curiosity. Hours passed, each minute feeling like an eternity. The silence in the cabin was deafening, broken only by the rhythmic hum of the engine. Time became an abstract concept as I ventured further into the abyss. The darkness outside seemed impenetrable, like a thick fog enveloping my every sense. Then, out of nowhere, the old man broke the silence. His sudden words startled me, and I caught a glimpse of his haggard face in the rearview mirror. He instructed me to stop and let him out. Despite my hesitations, I knew I had no choice but to obey. It was as if I had become a mere puppet in this twisted game. As he exited the vehicle, my gaze instinctively followed his figure retreating into the darkness. But I quickly reminded myself of Johnny's warning: never look back. I averted my eyes, but the sound of his footsteps grew fainter, sending a chill down my spine. The unsettling notion of what lay behind me was enough to send my heart into a frenzy. The road stretched on, my mind tormented by the possibilities of what awaited me. Reality began to blur with the realm of nightmares, creating a surreal atmosphere that defied explanation. My grip on sanity threatened to wane as the road continued to unfold before me, revealing glimpses of a horrifying world I never knew existed. Time seemed meaningless in this twisted reality. Minutes turned into hours, and hours into an eternal cycle of uncertainty. The monotony of the road was interrupted only by fleeting whispers and sinister laughter that seemed to permeate the very fabric of the night. I longed for an escape, a glimmer of hope that would guide me back to safety. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, I saw a faint glow in the distance, the sign of civilization. Relief washed over me, mingled with a sense of trepidation. Had I truly escaped the clutches of this malevolent journey, or was the nightmare far from over? As I drove into the nearest town, the weight of the experience lingered. The road behind me held the echoes of a dark and twisted reality, one that tested the limits of my courage and sanity. I couldn't help but wonder if there were others like me, thrust into this ominous path with its enigmatic rules. I parked my vehicle, my hands still trembling from the ordeal. I knew I had survived an encounter with the unknown, emerging with my sanity intact. But the memories of that fateful journey would forever be etched into my mind, a reminder of the inexplicable horrors that lurk just beneath the surface of our everyday lives. And so, as I stepped out of the cabin, I couldn't help but cast a wary glance over my shoulder, half expecting to see the shadowy figure of the old man staring back at me. But the road remained empty, its secrets hidden in the depths of the night. And as I walked away, I couldn't help but feel a sense of relief, knowing that this chapter of my life was finally behind me. My hands gripped the steering wheel tightly as I navigated through the treacherous path, my heart pounding in my chest. The darkness seemed to stretch on forever, each shadow taunting me with the possibility of danger lurking within. Mile after mile, I followed Johnny's ominous instructions, feeling the weight of the macabre puzzle forming before my very eyes. As mile 50 approached, my high beams illuminated a figure running on all fours by the side of the road. No matter how fast I accelerated, it effortlessly kept pace with me, a constant reminder of the danger that lurked in the darkness. My only chance of survival was to outpace it, to cling to the road with every fiber of my being. With each curve that loomed ahead, I counted them down, as if the mere act of keeping track would make the creature vanish into thin air. 1, 2, 3 curves, and finally, it disappeared. The relief flooded over me, but a sense of unease lingered as I continued down the unsettling path. At mile 70, my truck suddenly shut off, causing panic to well up inside me. Ignoring the figures that approached my trailer from the rearview mirror, I focused on the task at hand, restarting the engine. The rules were clear: stay calm, follow the instructions, and don't deviate. With a mixture of desperation and determination, I managed to get the engine running again. Without looking back, I accelerated, knowing that any misstep could be my last. As I reached mile 80, the temperature inside the cabin became unbearable. Sweltering heat filled the air, pressing against my skin. The temptation to roll down the window was great, but I remembered Johnny's warning and resisted, even as sweat drenched my body. The road stretched out before me, straight and unyielding, the threat of a cliff edge a constant reminder of the consequences of carelessness. I kept my focus on maintaining the high beams and pushed through, peering between miles 85 and 90. In the midst of my task, I caught a glimpse of movement behind the truck. My instincts urged me to turn and investigate, but I fought against the paranoia that threatened to consume me. The figure seemed to dance around the unit, never directly in my line of sight, always waiting for the opportune moment. Fear gripped me, but I knew it was a trap. I couldn't give in to its lure. A piercing scream sliced through the darkness, jolting me into action. Without hesitation, I raced towards the cabin, hitting the accelerator with all the force I could muster. Terror flooded my mind as the scream persisted, its intensity raising my anxiety to unbearable levels. In that moment, nothing else mattered. I accelerated, leaving behind any notion of self-preservation. My life was hanging by a fragile thread, and I couldn't afford to waste a single second. My heart raced, matching the relentless darkness that surrounded me. The shrill sound of the scream gradually faded, but the anguish remained. Around 3 o'clock in the morning, the phone began to ring, echoing in the confines of the cabin. Johnny's voice echoed in my mind, a haunting reminder to never answer, no matter who it seemed to be. I resisted the temptation, knowing that the caller would persist 3 times before resorting to a message. Even then, I dared not open it. The urgency of the situation kept me on high alert, aware that any distraction could prove fatal. Finally, as mile 100 came into view, the distant glow of other vehicles' lights filled the horizon. I switched off my own lights immediately, refusing to draw any unwanted attention. I couldn't risk being discovered now, not after coming so far. I waited, silently watching as the other trucks passed by, making sure they were a safe distance away. Only then did I allow myself to breathe a sigh of relief, my hands trembling slightly as I switched my lights back on and continued towards my destination. Each mile brought me closer to my goal, each mile a test of my resolve and perseverance. The rules were strict, the consequences severe. But as I pressed forward, with each passing milestone, I couldn't shake the feeling that this journey was more than just a test of survival. It was a battle of wills, a fight against the unknown, and with every ounce of determination I possessed, I vowed to conquer the darkness that threatened to consume me. So, picture this. I'm cruising down the road, minding my own business, when I catch a glimpse of some headlights in my rearview mirror. Now let me tell you, this wasn't just any ordinary situation. I had a routine that I followed every time I saw those approaching lights. I mean, I didn't want to attract any unnecessary attention, so I didn't honk my horn or make any sudden moves. Instead, I kept my eyes glued to that rearview mirror. And if, by chance, I saw the lights of a truck turning and coming my way, you better believe I put the pedal to the metal. My goal? Get as far away as possible, and fast. As I was making my way towards mile 120, I noticed this sign indicating a speed limit of a measly 20 miles per hour. Yeah, it was a total drag, but I couldn't risk exceeding it. Making too much noise might bring some unwanted attention my way. And let me tell you, my life depended on staying under the radar. So, I played it safe and stayed in the shadows. Only when I saw another sign indicating a higher speed limit did I dare to put the pedal down once again. Now, mile 130 rolls around, and what do I see? A woman on the side of the road, waving frantically and asking for help. It's a tough situation, but my buddy Joni warned me about giving in to the temptation of stopping. He said to only glance at the rearview mirror, just to make sure she was still there. If she disappeared, then I wasn't even supposed to turn my head to look at her. Nope. I had to keep my focus straight ahead. Joni knew better than to slow down or entertain any risky business. So, I trusted his advice and kept my eyes glued to that rearview mirror as I passed her by. Man, I resisted the urge to check the passenger seat. Who knows, she might have suddenly popped up out of nowhere. Talk about tension. Finally, mile 140 comes into view, and let me tell you, the relief was overwhelming. At this point, the road ahead seemed like a straight shot to my destination. But let me tell you, I wasn't about to mess things up. Turning my truck around on that road? No way. And using the GPS before I got into town? Not a chance. I had to stick to the plan. No deviations. Anything else would lead me down a dangerous and uncertain path. And then, the moment arrived. I finally reached my customer's location. The employees were there to receive the shipment, and they let me know that my job was officially done. Let me tell you, that was a moment of triumph mixed with sheer relief. My heart was still pounding like crazy as I stepped out of that truck. But hey, silently, I thanked my lucky stars that I had made it through that terrifying ride. Johnny, my friend, had warned me about this strange job. But let me tell you, nothing could have prepared me for those horrifying rules I had to follow just to reach my destination alive. It was an experience that would forever be etched in my memory. That night on the road, well, it was something I would never forget. Wow, what a wild journey that was. Life sure does throw some unexpected challenges our way, huh? But hey, I made it through, and that's something to celebrate. It's moments like these that remind us just how resilient we can be when we're faced with danger.
As we reach the end of this bone-chilling episode, the eerie whispers of the unknown still linger in the air. But fear not, dear listeners, for our journey through the shadows has only just begun. Prepare yourselves, for next week we delve even deeper into the depths of darkness. We'll unravel sinister secrets, explore forbidden realms, and confront the terrors that lurk in the corners of our minds. If you dare to continue this haunting expedition, make sure to stay tuned for the next chapter of the Disconnected podcast with Angel. Remember, only the brave survive this treacherous descent into the unknown. To ensure you never miss an episode filled with spine-tingling tales, be sure to like and subscribe to our podcast on your preferred platform. By doing so, you'll become an honored member of our growing community, united by our love for the macabre and the unexplainable. So, dear listeners, as the darkness envelops you and the shadows dance at the edge of your consciousness, we eagerly await your return. Until then, beware the things that whisper in the night, and join us next week for another terrifying installment of the Disconnected podcast. This podcast was written and produced by Angel Gazka. Don't forget to follow us on all social media, and if you have a story you want to share with us, send it to our email, thedisconnectedpod@gmail.com. Thanks again for listening. I am Jack, along with my friend Adam, and we'll see you on the next episode.